Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, obviously, to Dr. Booker, to Ms. Sadler, to each and every one of you here, teachers and faculty and administrators. It's good to look out and see a couple of smiling faces, and some of y'all are like this. And we better be good. So, but hey, it's all good. I know that it's early in the morning. What I want to do is that I want to start us off by getting our blood flowing. So as you very well have heard, I'm a trainer. So what I want to do is, y'all are like, oh, Lord, what I want to do is, I want to teach you a lesson in adversity. Okay? So if you can, let's stand up, please. Very quickly, let's stand up. And what we're going to do is that we're going to do this thing called squat holds. Okay? I haven't even told you what it is yet, right? Like, come on. You've already lost the challenge of adversity. All right, so what a squat hold is you're going to squat down low and you're going to stay there. Okay? We're not coming up, we're going to hold it, and we're going to stay there. The test of the adversity is that I'm going to read out the definition of that while you're squatting. Okay? All right? You trust me. It won't take long. Okay? So, I'm going to read out the definition of adversity while you're squatting. Okay? And this is genius, because I'm actually teaching you audibly about that word while showing you what it, come on, Tremaine, you better stop. While showing you what adversity is. All right, so here's what we got, okay? So we're gonna make sure that we squat, we're gonna get down low. If your butt touches the seat, that is wrong. You're not sitting down, okay? Okay? Don't sit down, right, okay? Get down low, try to get close to the seat, but not quite to it, okay? All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right, so the word adversity has 27 definitions. I mean, the more y'all talk to me, I can't get through it. All right, definition number 1. I'm joking, stand up. Have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. You guys actually passed the test. Y'all actually, almost all of y'all stayed down. I saw one of them like, nope, I'm good, I'm good. How many of you know that adversity is the birth of progress? Adversity is the birth of progress. Let me tell you when I first met adversity. The year was 1979. Our president was Jimmy Carter. The Rubik's Cube had just come out and was an amazing, great phenomenon. There was an economic downturn. The economy wasn't doing that well. There was inflation. Was that Tuesday? 1979, they're going through the same thing that we're kind of going through now. All of those things were happening. But for me, 1979 was a good year. Now, granted, I was 3 years old. Okay, so you're probably asking, Tremaine, how can you be 3 years old and know anything about really anything? And there's a simple answer to that. I didn't. I didn't know who the president was, didn't care. I didn't know anything about an inflation or the recession. Didn't have a Rubik's Cube. The Dukes of Hazzard was the top show. Didn't know anything about the Dukes of Hazzard. Didn't know Bo or Luke Duke. Didn't know any one of those. All that I knew is that for me, at 3 years old, life was absolutely amazing. Why? Because it was just me. I was the firstborn child to Fred and Mary Stevens. I was the first grandchild, and I was the only nephew of all of my aunts and uncles. So I got all of them. You hear me? I'm talking about like clothes and candy and toys. I had the best shoes. I had the Oshkosh B'gosh. Y'all remember the Oshkosh B'gosh? Yeah, that was like that's Lululemon of kids' clothes back then. Like you had some Oshkosh. You was really doing good. I had all those things. Life was really, really good for me. And so the more that I thought about that, I'm like, man, you know what? It don't get no better than this. Celeste, I was 3. I ain't had no bills. I ain't had to worry about no car. I ain't had to worry about no gas. None of that. I ain't had to worry about the inflation, none of that stuff. Everything to me was good, right? 1980. In particular, March 21st, 1980. I noticed that my parents, my mom was like, she was going through some stuff. I just thought she was just, mom stuff, right? She was getting bigger, but hey, she eats, right? When you eat, you get a little bit bigger. And she was, sleeping. I was like, whatever, man. I'm having fun. I got my toys, got my Oshkosh, gosh, I'm good, right? And then my grandparents, they came up one day, and they kept me while my parents went to the hospital. I'm like, okay, cool. They must be mamas who getting take care of that stomach. You know what I'm saying? So that thing get down. But she was. March 21st, 1980. All of a sudden, they bring home another person in my home. My brother Travis was born. This baby, this bundling, bouncing ball of joy, this what I call creature, because he essentially was taking, now I realize that I'm gonna have to shift everything that had gone on in my life, everything that had gone well, everything that I had seen that was, all of the Oshkosh and for Christmas, all the toys and everything that I had gotten that was all mine. Now, my grandparents have two people to try to appease to. My parents have to, and then of course, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't walk. I'm like, he can't even do anything. Why is there so much attention on him? Give it to, and that's when I realized that was some adversity. Now, of course, he's my brother, and I love him to this day very, very much. But at the time, I kind of realized that adversity is going to be a big part of our lives. And as you very well know, it always is. So as we go through these adverse times, we just have to make sure that everything that we do, we're doing with a purpose of not getting to that adverse time and saying, man, woe is me. I can't do this. I can't handle this. Because I soon found out when adversity comes, it's not really about what it does to you. It's how you respond to it. So let me tell you about some real adversity that I've dealt with my whole life. My whole life, I've stuttered. So I've had a speech impediment. So for me to be up here speaking to you right now, to me is an absolute blessing, and I thank God every single day. But I tell you what, it wasn't always like this. I was not always the confident man that you see before you. As a matter of fact, there's times when the same classrooms that y'all are in right now, in school was tough. But before that, quick kind of funny story, right? So obviously I'm a football guy. My dad played football, so he ingrained me in football, right? And so I was like, Dad, I want to play quarterback. So he's like, okay, well, let's go. So I tried out for quarterback. Raise your hand if you heard of a stuttering quarterback. Anybody? So I went out there the first day, and I want to be a quarterback coach. He's like, okay, cool, come on. So I was like, okay, let's get it. Ready. And they were like, dude, you can't play quarterback if you can't even get the play call out. So I figured I'd go ahead and do something that might not be as quarterback related, maybe something that doesn't involve, I don't know, words. So I went ahead and played running back, and it worked out well for me, so thank goodness. But that's the type of stuttering that I did. Literally, it was so bad that I could barely even get a word out. And it was tough because I would be in class and my teacher, they would call on me and they would say, hey Tremaine, what's the answer to number 6? And I'm like, dude, I'm smart. What are you talking about? I did my homework last night. Number 6, I got it right here. All right, the answer to number 6, I know is George Washington. But in class, somewhere between my brain and my mouth, it would get stuck. And I would be in class either not saying a word or stuttering heavily. And as we all know, as you all know, dealing with kids. Kids can be cruel. So I was called every name in the book. Is he stupid? Is he dumb? Is he illiterate? Is he an idiot? What's wrong with him? And this one kid, James. James. I was in 6th grade, James was in 8th. I made it a point to when I'm going to this certain class that I try to avoid the way that James was. And it never failed. When I say, I bet James over there, let me go over here. Guess where James was? Right over there. Over there. And look at Stuttering Stevens. Everybody would laugh and have a good time. And those words hurt me. One day, this is a true story. My daughter can back it up because she's talked to my mom about it. One day I came home, 6th grade, 11, 12 years old, and I was literally in tears. And for some reason, my mom was already home. And I came in and I'm like, Mom, I don't want to go back to school no more. I want to punch this guy James in the face. I was stuttering and they made fun of me and they called me names and idiot. And then at the end, as I was leaving school, they threw rocks at me. And my mom went into Mama Bear mode. My mom went into mom mode. She sat me down, about 45 minutes. She told me how special I was. She told me it doesn't matter what they say. She told me, listen, you are first and foremost a child of God. So whatever they say has no bearing on you whatsoever. And if you let what they say make you mad or angry, who won? 45 minutes. Great talk. I felt consoled. I was comforted. I felt good. Mom was right. I'm not going to let them tell me who I am. I'm Tremaine Stevens. Went upstairs, I laid down for a while, and I felt really good about myself. I heard my dad's car pull up. Oh, Dad is home. I'm going to tell him this story, and then I'm going to get some manly advice from Dad, right? So Dad came in the door. So with my dad, he's a former military, right? So he's former Army. So I had to make sure that my story was a little bit more gut-wrenching, right? So I had to add some stuff. So like, Dad, man, I want to beat this guy James up, man. They call me stupid and dumb. They threw rocks at me. He stole my lunch money. He didn't steal my lunch money. Stole my lunch money, man. I think my shoes are gone. I don't know what happened to them. All that stuff. And my dad stood there with basically the demeanor of a grizzly bear and was like this. Listen. And as I finished my story up, he said, how are you going to act? And I said, what? Did you not hear the sob story that Mom just gave me a 45-minute dissertation on this, and you're going to give me a 5-word, let me tell you the story again. They were throwing rocks, Dad. Literally, like my lunch money, like shoes that you bought. I don't know where they are. They might go to bed, but I don't know where they are, right? So I told the story again. And again, he said, I heard you. So how are you going to act? And I said, Dad, I'll be honest with you. This is a true story. I said, I'm lost right now. Because I really have no clue what you're talking about. I don't know how I'm going to act. Like, that's the reason I really want to punch this guy James in the face. But James is 5'10", 150 pounds. I'm 5'7", 110. Like, if I do that, I'm going to get murdered. Like, that's not going to be a really good thing for me. So I'm trying to get some advice for you. Like, I need you, man to man, to let me know what's going on here? He said, so how are you going to act? Dude, I don't know what you're talking about, okay? So he said, let me break it down for you today. He said, the real premise is on that word act. Like, first and foremost, you have to realize, just like your mom probably told you, because I'm married and I know what she says, just like your mom probably told you, you are special. You are different. But you got to act accordingly. That A means you have to accept that not everybody is on your side. You have to accept that not everybody is going to be there for your sunshine and for your rainbows. Not everybody is there to pump you up. Not everybody is there to give you a pat on the back. He said, that's not how this world is. And I hate to be like this, and I hate to tell you like this, but this is a little bit about what the world is. And I don't want to make sure that you hear this right from me. He says this is all part of the adversity that I'm talking about. And sometimes it doesn't come in the form of things. Sometimes it doesn't come in the form of actions. Sometimes it comes in the form of people. And sometimes through that, what they do to you, you learn more from that than you do when somebody treats you right. And he said, take football for example. When you win, how do you feel? You say, man, I feel good, man. You won the game. I probably had a good game. He said, what do you do afterwards? Man, I come home and I eat, play some games, and play with my brother, who I wish he didn't have. But I feel good. I feel great, man. I have fun. He was like, exactly. Like, now, how do you feel when you lose? Dad, you know I hate losing. I can't. I'm competitive. When I come home after losing, I go upstairs. I do push-ups. I go outside. I run. And then he said, so which one of those outcomes makes you better? Oh. Wow. When I lose, I feel as though there's something that I didn't do. So I have to try to work on that. I have to try to push on that. When I win, I celebrate. I have a great time. Right? So the same thing happens when we deal with these adverse situations. Sometimes you have to lose to win. And sometimes the words that people may say and the actions that they have against you can be damaging, right? But if every time we take what actually somebody says and we let that ruin our day, who wins? They do. So we're not going to let that happen. He said, more than likely, their lives are so miserable that they want to try to make everyone else's life as miserable as well. So this is when you take back that power. And no matter what they say, it doesn't change the fact that you are exactly who God designed you to be, and that's 100% authentic Tremaine. And I looked at him and I said, man, that's what I wanted right there, Dad. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. Yes. So I have to accept that people aren't going to always be great to me. I get it. Okay, so A, C. Okay, so C. What's the C mean? He said, Tremaine, the C means control what you can control. Life, as we all know, because we're all adults, life can come at you fast and hard. It's literally a series of adverse situations that's sprinkled in with some really good times. And so what happens is that we have a tendency to say, I'm going to try my best to make sure that I control everything. I'm the same way. I want to try to control everything. And then I had to realize in that moment in time, you cannot control every single thing. Literally, we want to try to make sure that when other people try to take advantage of you, to manipulate you, to mistreat you, they're doing these things because they know that if they can do that, they can control your environment. And not just your environment, they can control you. And I refuse to believe that that's going to happen. And these adversities may come at the expense of something that you've done wrong, but it may come at the expense of something that you've not done wrong, something that you haven't done at all. But things happen, and that's how life is. And adverse situations are going to always come up. As a matter of fact, they're going to always knock on your door. You have two choices. You can open that door up. You can be mad, upset. You can wallow in pity. You can say, why this happened to me? You can say, this is something that I asked for. You can say, this is not something that I want to do. And all those things are things that you can do. Or you can open that door and realize I control me. So whatever these situations that have come in my way, I'm going to make sure that I do everything that I can do to control what I can control. And from there, let the situation play out as it may. And I looked at my dad and I'm like, because y'all might think that this is, Ashley will go to my parents' house in like a week and she'll ask my dad if this happened. And I'm going to say Ashley did, okay? I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is the first time that my dad, like, we always have talks and everything, but this is the first time that he's like breaking down life situations to me. And I'm thinking to myself, Dad, this is amazing, man. Okay, so A, we got to accept that people might not always be on our side. Okay, C, have to control what we can truly control. So Dad, what's T? He said T is the simplest one of all. T is simply you have to trust who you are. You have to trust that who you are is greater than anything that can happen to you. You have to trust that who you are going to be is greater than anything that anybody can ever do to you. And when I say going to be, that meant me then when I was 11, and that means you now when you're whatever age you are. Doesn't matter, right? Because that's how life is. Life is an ongoing process. Life never stops. The minute that you stop learning is a minute, well, I'll have to tell y'all about that. We're all in the business of learning. We're here to make people better. So we have to trust. We have to make sure that as much as people want to maybe see us fail, they're not going to stop until we do. So we're not going to ever let that happen. Do you know that somebody wishes that they had something that you have? It could be your patience. It could be your smile. It could be your willingness to help others. It could be the way you treat others. It could be it could be anything. Somebody wishes that they had that one thing. And if they realize that they can't have that, then they'll do anything to make sure that you don't have it. So that's why you get lied on. That's why they talk behind your back sometimes. And that's why they might have some choice words for you. But as long as you trust who you are, then none of that matters. There is something that is special about you. There is something about you that people can't quite put their finger on. And when people can't quite figure you out because you're so special, then obviously that's what they hate. He said, listen to Tremaine, I need you to realize that when they call you stupid, when they call you dumb, when they call you an idiot, he said they can't see the greatness that is on the inside of you. They only see what's on the outside. They cannot see the inside. I was like, Dad, you're totally right. When I tell you this conversation that I had with my dad at 11 changed my whole life. It did. And I didn't really know what it was doing at the time, because of course I was still young. But I realized that as I was going through it, and as I was making choices in life, I was making choices off of how I was acting. So we need to always make sure that we make those choices. A couple of years later, it was after my rookie season. I came home. I was out in San Diego playing for the Chargers. I came back home, brought my car back home with my little spinning wheels and stuff. Spinning wheels was a big thing back then, okay? Had a little chain on and stuff. Thought I was cute, you know. It was ridiculous. I waste so much money. Anyway, I came back home, right? And one day I went to McDonald's. Don't judge. One day I went to McDonald's and I was literally in line. I got up and I saw this guy. He was looking at me, but I mean, I'm like, okay, well, I just see him. He sees me, whatever. So I'm ordering and I'm talking and he says, "Man, Tremaine." And I'm like, oh, is there another Tremaine in here somewhere? Because that can't be to me. He said, "Tremaine." So obviously he's talking to me. So I look at the guy, I'm like, I do what I always do, but I don't like, no, hey, what's up, man? Hey, man, I ain't seen you in what, 6 years, okay, cool. All right, man, that's crazy, man. How'd your mom, I don't know who you are, but I don't know anything. Like, Tremaine, man, like, bro, it's been so long since I've seen you. I'm like, you have no idea. I don't know how long it's been since we've seen each other. He said, "I know you remember me." Is this a brother that I didn't know I had? He said, "It's me, James." My first instinct was, oh, how the tides have changed. You were bigger than me. I was little, skinny 6th grader. Now I've been lifting weights. You've been eating McDonald's, obviously, I get that. And I wanted to really like, hey, listen, I wanted to really put my pants up. But I said to myself, nah, Tremaine, that's not the way you should act. I was like, James, what's going on, man? It's been so long. And we talked and we talked and we talked. And he wanted my autograph. And he said, Tremaine, listen, when you went to high school, man, I followed your whole career. What? He said, when you went to college, he was spitting out my stats. I remember, man, you had that game versus WVA. Y'all was down by 4, and you broke that 84-yard run and scored a touchdown. I saw you in the Peach Bowl, man. You had 21 carries for 105 yards. You won MVP, and I was like, James? This can't be. Like, yeah, he's like, the day that you got drafted, man, I told my boys, like, yo, I know him. They're like, yo, no, I know him. He went to my school, man. That's my boy. Bro, I cried over you, man. I went home, man, that day was looking like I was crying because you was so mean to me. And I said, man, I appreciate that, man. And we just talked, and we just hashed it out. We just talked. And so I finished ordering my food. I was walking out, and as I was walking out, he said, hey, Tremaine. Turned around, he walked up. He said, listen, man, I know I was mean to you, bro. Like, I know I was bad to you. He was like, but if it makes you feel any better, I could just tell that you were different. And he's like, you're in middle school. If somebody's different, just make fun of them. He was like, but now I see why you were different. He was like, because you could have very well said, hey, listen, man, I'm in the pros now. I'm making big money. You see those spinning wheels outside? I'm making big money now. James, you working at McDonald's. I'm cool, thanks, bro, be out of here. He was like, but you did. And that meant the world to me. And I thank you. And he gave me a hug. I think about how we act sometimes. And I think about when things don't go right, and we're so ready at that moment in time to get back. We're so ready at that moment in time to make sure that we push against. But sometimes, and I'm not trying to bring in God into this thing, but sometimes we get pushed in a way that leads us into our destiny. If I didn't have my James, would I have this life? If I didn't have my James, I wouldn't come home that day crying. If I didn't have my James, I wouldn't have had my dad to break down how I'm going to act. If I didn't have my James, I wouldn't know where my outcome would be. Because sometimes just having a nice, smooth road in life, that's not going to get you to where you want to be. We've all seen those memes where it shows like, this is the way that most people go, and this is the way that people who have success go. Mountains, hills, and valleys. Because that's what life is. Adversity helps to build the body, the mind, and the soul. So when James came to my life, I hated James. No lie, he's the first person I hated. I didn't like him. I didn't want to see him ever again. And lo and behold, about 6, 7 years later, I see him. And I still talk to James to this day. He's actually a good friend. He's still a butthole. But he's a good friend. As I sat in the car that day, my dad's words came rushing back to me. People literally only see what's on the outside of you, but they can tell that you're different. You teach, you give, you help to grow, you help to nurture. What you have that is on the inside of you is different. I've seen these kids today, they crazy. So what you have on the inside of you is different. And people aren't going to always take to account that you're different is what's going to make you great. But that's exactly what is going to happen. When they can tell that there's something that is actually different about you, and they can tell that you're not like each and every person. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way that you carry yourself, somebody somewhere is going to test that. They're going to be your James, right? So adversity could arise at any given point in time, but the sooner that we realize we need those adverse times and situations for us to grow, the sooner that we do like I did years ago, and I welcome the adversity. When COVID came and my gym got shut down, and Miss Sadler is actually a part of my women's class, and my gym was shut down, and I was like, what am I going to do? And I had heard about doing online stuff, and I was like, I'm not doing online. You got to come see me. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. You got to come see me. And God said, oh, really? Okay. Gym got shut down, and I had to immediately go from, okay, I can't come into the gym, so how can I reach my clientele? I go to them virtually. And I never thought that you know, I would do anything virtual ever. Literally, over the course of a month, coming into my gym, there's about 55 to 60 clients that come to my gym for classes a week. When COVID hit, adversity, but I said I would welcome them. And I pivoted and went online and gained 300 clients a month. You never know when your James is going to turn into your progress. So that's why I say adversity is the birth of progress. Because if we can learn to deal with that, then we can learn to deal with anything. So in closing, let me let you know something. Every single last one of you is special. You already know that. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. Learning is the most fundamental and essential area of life. You literally give the kids that you work with life. If you don't give, they don't get. Seeds die, flowers die, if you don't give them water. You are legitimately the water to those flowers and to those seeds. Just think about it. The impact that you have on somebody is the impact that they have for the rest of their lives and on into other lives as well. So in closing, I want to tell you this last story. It'll take 2 minutes. Just to tell you a little bit about what's going on. I was in my second season playing with the Chargers, and we were playing against the Ravens. So if anybody knows about the Ravens, you probably know of a guy named Ray Lewis. If you know of a guy named Ray Lewis, you know that he does not play about football, okay? He will hit you. The previous year, the one and only time that I've ever been knocked out in a game was because of Ray Lewis. I was going off for a pass. I didn't see him, but he saw me. Next thing I know, I was in the locker room and I was waking up like, what in the world's going on with Dr. But this is year 2. And Ray's somebody that you fear. He's across the line and he's barking. I'm like, this dude is why are we here? Lord. But I went at Ray. And he hit me. And I made some plays and he made some plays. And the whole game, I had like 20 carries. Didn't have a lot of yards because he was hitting pretty good. But I made sure he would hit me and get up. Hey, get up, get up. And I would just get up and just like, oh, let me just walk back to the line. But I came to play for the next play, right? I came for the next play. So when the game is over with, obviously, like, you know, guys, they meet in the middle, stuff like that. They talk and everything, and then they go to the locker room. So I see Ray, and he's coming over to him. I'm like, Ray, the game over, don't hit me. I ain't got my helmet, please, don't hit me. And Ray came over and he said, hey, man, legitimately, word for word. Well, I can't say word for word. You got the words, but almost word for word. He said, hey, man, I like you, boy. That's what he said. He said, hey, man, Stevens, right? Steve, yeah. I like you, boy. You run hard. I gave you everything that I had, and you gave it right back. He said, I tried to break you, but you didn't break. And I promise, God is my witness. He said, I just wanted to see how you want to act. God is my witness. It didn't resonate for until after the game, and I was like, how we act matters. Sometimes we have to accept that not everybody is in your corner, and that's fine. Sometimes we just have to control what we can control. And most importantly, man, you just got to trust who you are. If you trust who you are, no matter how many times you get hit, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you're going to get back up, you're going to stand back up, you're going to live to play the game. Let's keep acting according to the way that we know how to act. You guys have a blessed year and enjoy yourselves. Love you guys. Thank you so much.